Ongoing decks just went from budget decks to probably one of the scariest things in the game, all because of a 2-1. Card games are weird.
Is it worth it?
What's going on, nerds? Time to read the card. Goliath is a 2 energy, 1 power card that says ongoing, plus 1 power for each other ongoing card you have in play. Overall impressions of Goliath. Well, my overall impression of this card is that it seems like one of the best cards that ongoing has gotten since forever, maybe. And if you could just consider how many cards are usually in play during a game, card's probably going to be like 7 power in any given game with no effort, which is kind of nuts. And honestly, probably usually going to be like 8 or 9 power plus whatever other buffs it gets from like Captain America and Spectrum. And you know what? Cards like this, Second Dinner changes cards a lot. They nerf cards, alter them quite a bit. And they're not scared to alter cards like a week or two after they come out if they're too good. And I'm not saying Goliath is going to like change the game when it comes out, but it does feel like one of the cards where in like a month from now, Second Dinner is going to be like, maybe we should make it a 2-0 just because it's not so powerful. It's just so easy to use and it's so simple and everyone can just be like, "Bleh," and play Goliath, and it's a great card. And I think that's what gets nerfs more than just raw power. But anyways, what do you guys think? I don't know. So let's read what do you guys think? I don't know. Let's look. All right. First up here in the hot take section, we got Joseph saying lower curves ongoing makes Spectrum the powerhouse she was always meant to be. And ongoing Thanos is back. Yeah, I mean, the more cards in play that are ongoing that get buffed by Spectrum, the better Spectrum is. And Spectrum always felt like, you know, the Doctor Doom of ongoing, and it's probably just a better card than Doctor Doom now, considering all the options we have. So I totally agree with this first part. And the second part here, ongoing Thanos is back. Yeah, honestly, I didn't really think about that when I first saw Goliath, but now that you mention it, Joseph, seems pretty good. Next up, we got Chris saying best card of the season, super easy fit in a lot of decks. Kind of turn off your brain, fun card. Maybe this is why they nerfed Doom 2099. Honestly, I don't know the rest of the cards off the top of my head. It does seem like a very good card. So if this is the best card of the season, I wouldn't be surprised. It is a turn off your brain card. Not sure about fun. Seems kind of boring, honestly. This is why they nerfed Doom. Nah, Doom was just way too good, really. We got Jonathan saying, is this a game changer? Probably not, but I guess we'll see. The discussion is ongoing. But overall, I agree. Probably not a game changer, but probably very, very good. Got Sam saying, can't wait to use my Enchantress. Well, I can't wait to use my Cosmo. Got Dana Khan saying, I like turtles.
I like turtles.
We got Cluis saying, everyone seems to forget that Echo exists and always only calls out Rogue and Enchantress. As for a reason. Not trying to shit on your comment here, but the reason that no one mentions Echo when they talk about ongoing tech cards or cards that would shut down stuff like Goliath is because you can play around Echo and it's not as good as Rogue and Enchantress. Rogue and Enchantress both have alternate uses, alternate effects that change the game. For instance, the most obvious one is Enchantress hitting your own Typhoid Mary, as well as whatever is in the opponent's lane. Rogue, you get the ongoing. So not only are you turning it off for the opponent, you're getting the benefit too, which is a giant swing in a lot of games. Echo, it's a 1-2 that kind of makes a lane not fun for the opponent to play in. Totally different cards in my opinion. Got Gurvok saying one of the 6 cards my Super Skull will be impersonating every match this upcoming season. Probably. And also, this just makes me think about the Drax arm. And we got Fernet saying, put Rogue and Enchantress in every deck this week, the card. Yeah, yes. All right, on to the good and the bad. What makes this card seemingly so powerful and what makes it maybe not that great? First thing here, simple to use. You don't have to think about this card. I mean, the only part of this card that you really have to think about is like, do you want to play it with Ravonna or not? Other than that, you throw it with a bunch of ongoing cards, you use the card correctly. That's it. Second thing here, simple to exploit. This kind of pairs with the first one, but what I mean by this is not only is this card simple to use and simple to make good, but it's also very easy to make absurd. They kind of go hand in hand. The same thing that makes this card easy to use is the same thing that makes this card easy to become game changing and just busted. So yeah, third thing here, ongoing needed raw stats. Now this was a problem with ongoing decks. Usually the whole thing with ongoing is you pair them together and then the cumulative effect of them all together made them powerful. But I'm sure if everyone's played ongoing decks and sometimes the power output is just a duty. I think the new Captain America is pretty good to sort of relieve that aspect of the ongoing's weaknesses, I guess you could say. But with Goliath, it's just a big boy. That's it. And ongoing, I think, definitely needed that. Ongoing has lots of disruption via like Cosmo and Jean Grey and all the other stuff it can do. And it has like good power spread with cards like Mr. Fantastic, Omega Red, Miss Marvel, Spectrum to an extent. But it didn't have cards that just went super tall in a lane. Aside from the new Captain America, I don't mean the new Sam Wilson one, I mean the reworked Captain America, and something like Iron Man can go really tall. But yeah, it didn't need more cards like Claw and Mr. Fantastic. It needed more cards like Goliath. So that's an upside. And the last thing here, good at any point in the game. Usually a lot of cards that are like really powerful are only good early in the game. A great example, a great comparison with this card would be Thena. Thena is a really powerful 2-drop, but really it's only super duper good when you play it on turn 2 and then trigger it every turn of the game. So when you have Thena on turn 5 and 6, it's okay, it's a 6 power or whatever if you play it correctly, but it's not the powerhouse that it could be. Goliath, any point that you play it in the game, it's a giant card for 2 energy. 1 if you play a Ravona. But yeah, so I think that is actually one of the stronger parts of the card that, you know, I don't really see people talking about too much. Onto the bad, it's a 1-deck card. Sure, Goliath is probably going to give ongoing decks like 2 different ways to play it. You could play your traditional like Spectrum ongoing deck that has like, you know, Ant-Man, a couple of 2-drops, 3 or 4 3-drops, 2 or 3 4-drops, and Spectrum. You know, just a nice balanced curve. Or I think Goliath is going to allow you to do like a new kind of ongoing deck with like Ravona, Mr. Fantastic, Mystique, Moonstone, Iron Man, and maybe not really rely on the Spectrum sort of stuff and rely more on getting cards out ahead of curve that are also powerful because of their ongoing effect. But with all that being said, it's a 1-deck card. You cannot play this outside of an ongoing deck, which is a downside. It's like thinking here, I don't know. Honestly, I can't think of anything else. And if you want to say Rogue, Enchantress, Echo, all of that is a downside to the card, sure, fair enough. But I rarely ever put those on the good and the bad of a card, because saying something has a counter is not a downside. It's just a fact of being a card game. Every card in every card game ever has a counter, so you can't really bring that up in arguments when you're talking about, oh, this card's not good because Shang-Chi exists. If that were true, every card over 9 power would be trash. And it's not true, so miss me with that argument. Moving on. Example Decklist. Like I was just saying, this might allow for a second type of ongoing deck to exist. That's the first thing we have here. A Ravona deck. So yeah, it's a Spectrum ongoing deck, except we are using Mr. Fantastic, Mystique, Iron Man, and Goliath to pair with Ravona. Get some good powerful cards out ahead of curve. And also Mystique in ongoing decks usually wasn't a thing because like a 0 power copying an ongoing effect, sometimes it was okay, but usually it just wasn't worth the slot in the deck. But now I think it is. I mean, a Mystique copying Goliath is great, especially with Ravona. Mystique copying Iron Man is great. A Mystique copying Mr. Fantastic, not that great, but considering we have Moonstone, is going to be pretty powerful. I think actually this first deck is the way to go when we're first testing this out. And yeah, I am including Captain Carter here because it's an ongoing card, and I think it's going to be a decent one too. And then the second one here is just your typical, you know, just play good ongoing cards. I like Jean Grey in ongoing lists to pair with stuff like Mojo and Punisher. So yeah, that's what we're doing in this one. But otherwise, they're pretty standard run-of-the-mill. You get the idea. All right, overall, should you spend your resources on Goliath? So as far as tokens go, honestly, I'm not really sure what to say here because I know snap packs are coming out soon, but I think that's like another like 2 months from now. So we'll just act like that's not a thing for this season, I guess. So as far as tokens go, if you like playing ongoing decks, yes, it's worth it. Honestly, Goliath is a lot like Khonshu. Basically is like, are you a discard boy? Yes, then get Khonshu. Are you not? Then no, don't get Khonshu. The resources are kind of irrelevant because that's how good I think the card is to the archetype. Same thing goes with Goliath here. Goliath is just going to probably be the best 2-drop in ongoing decks now, period. So it's going to be worth the tokens. Now, as far as keys go, I don't really think anything changes here. Cersei, I want it to be a good card. It's not that great of a card just because of the randomness, but sometimes in a Nihilist decks, it's cute. Gwenpool, I think people play Gwenpool a little too much. I'm not a fan of the card. But if you don't have either of those and you wanted to get Goliath, it's a great proposition. Spend 4 keys, get all them cards. If you have Gwenpool and you have Cersei, well, lucky for you, the art on Cersei is like the sickest alt art in the game. I really like it. So yeah, maybe it's worth it for you then. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a great card, easy to use. It's going to be a big boy. It's fitting because the character is a big boy.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.